各位觀眾大家好，歡迎收睇26分鐘見證實錄。根據加拿大統計局嘅數字顯示喺本國大約有620萬殘障人士，佔全國人口嘅22%。隨住對無障礙設施需求嘅聲音有增加嘅情況之下，卑詩省府喺2021年就通過並且推出卑詩省無障礙法，要求750多個公營組織設立無障礙委員會以及一個收集意見嘅機制，從而改善組織內嘅無障礙狀況。究竟當局嘅措施係咪有顯著嘅成效？對於一啲城市建設無障礙環境又起到啲乜嘢嘅幫助呢？
The RHFAC is a reference standard. It's not a prescriptive standard. And so it's designed as a weighted scale. It's not a checklist you can use and just check things off.
They're making strides. There's a far way to go. We've also come a far way from where we were.
唔止障礙有時好危險啊，最主要係安全嘅問題啊，其實呢度都好好噶啦。
銷售間 Samantha 喺34年前揸車前往美國西雅圖接載親人途中遇上交通意外，當時連人帶車反轉跌落一個約75尺深嘅山坡，導致脊骨同埋中樞神經受影響。自此之後，佢就要靠輪椅出入。其實使用輪椅嘅適應咧，都唔係太重要，而係自己嘅心態啦。因為由一個好好活躍嘅一個人，又可以行又可以走，做好多嘢嘅人，去到突然之間係乜都唔做得，連譬如想起身咧，都要用有啲架嚟掹先可以由瞓覺嘅時候嚟坐得起身。咁跟住就係好似日常嘅運作啦，例如換衫啊、着衫啊，就算由個床轉去個輪椅嗰度，都要去學過去練過。咁最大嘅問題就係身體嘅基本功能，咁就如呢個排泄系統啦，因為嗰個中樞神經受損咗，所以係冇乜感覺㗎。咁譬如大小便咧，都唔係可以自然咁樣去做啦，即係唔似以前咁，都要另外好似去學過點樣去處理呢啲咁嘅事啦。咁不過輪椅咧就反而係比較容易去做，因為都要去唔同嘅地方嘅話咧，就一定要使用輪椅咯。 Samantha 喺調整心態之後重新振作，踏出社會，亦都積極參與一啲由市政府專責嘅無障礙設施建設項目，包括反映一啲需要改良嘅地方。
市政府咧就同我哋個會係列治文殘障人士支援中心。咁每有新嘅項目啦，即係建築嘅項目或者改良嘅項目咧，佢都會諮詢我哋嘅，因為我哋有好似我咁啦，就係殘障㗎啦，亦都有智障啊，有視障啊，聾啞啊都有嘅。咁所以我哋集合咗好多資料，到政府如果真係有問題啊，咁我哋亦都會請我哋啲會員俾啲意見俾我哋啦，或者同我哋一齊同政府互相交流。
即係有時啲路係咪你都話覺得會有啲凹凸不平啊？
係啊，
係啊，想令到一啲使用者就即係造成一個不必要嘅障礙咁樣。
唔止障礙，有時好危險啊！最主要係安全嘅問題啊！其實呢度都好好噶啦，嗰個行人路佢可以封咗咧。咁輪椅又要逼住要走出去個馬路嗰度。
啲建築地盤嗰啲唔係幾好。
有，所以我哋會投訴。咁政府就會去干涉啦。因為佢哋係應該使到因為嗰度係行人路嚟噶嘛，係咪 pedestrian 用嘅地方，所以即係佢係應該即係比較做得安全啲咯。咁其實啲遊樂場咧，啲小朋友嘅就係我嗰陣時帶我啲孫啊，咁佢嗰陣時3歲啫嘛，
咁啊想玩嗰啲千秋，但係佢千秋嗰個 area 咧，好多時候佢都係用啲木碎啊、木糠或者係啲 gravel 啦、啲石仔啊咁樣。咁所以個輪椅係去唔到嘅。就係而家你都可以睇到佢我哋嗰日就開咗會，咁啊同佢提一提呢樣啦。我就話，因為有時如果小朋友係坐輪椅嘅話，或者啲媽媽帶住兩個小朋友，一個3歲，一個歲半咁樣啦嚇。歲半嗰個一定係坐 BB 椅啦。咁嗰個 BB 椅咧，佢又要唔可以拎落去嗰個木糠嗰度咯。嗱，好似呢度咧，又係都係有少少唔係好安全嘅。呢一個位咧，即係有個碌咁，哎呀，所以有時要好小心。咁嗱，呢度就係啲碎石㗎啦。
你有冇同師傅？
有嘅，佢哋其實喺 Richmond 都已經有2個呢啲咁嘅小朋友嘅操場咧，係全部都輪椅好方便使用嘅，因為佢係用啲膠嘅地，即係佢 hello， 因為嗰個地係用啲膠嘅原料啊嚟做，咁所以係比較平嘅。嗱，佢呢個好就有個 ramp 落到去，但係我唔會落去啦，因為嗰度根本就冇可能會即係個輪椅可以行到咯。我都冇諗過輪椅落去。
其實應該會話改其他地，改其他地。
有。同佢哋已經我哋上個月已經講咗啦，就係佢哋會呢度會係翻新嘅，成個遊樂場 playground 呢度係會翻新。咁我哋講，但係佢就話因為係啲又係經濟上面即係材料會好比較5倍，比呢啲材料即係嗰個膠嘅floor 咧就會比呢個。呢啲材料貴5倍，所以有時又好難做得到。咁我哋話最少或者啲千秋嗰度啦，咁最少啲，譬如話啲公公婆婆係或者媽媽爸爸係坐輪椅嘅，帶個小朋友嚟，咁最少喺嗰度佢都可以推下佢哋啊嘛。因為而家咁嗰啲細路仔自己落去嘅話，即係冇人會推佢哋咯。
但係師傅有冇話幾時會改善啊？
佢哋而家仲係喺計劃中，即係佢哋想希望就係即係明年會可以動工啦，即係喺呢度。咁佢會話即係加插多少少係嗰啲膠質嘅地，咁等啲用輪椅嘅人士都可以去到。呢度係 smooth 啲嘅，即係好似我哋頭先咪出去嘅時候咧，覺得嗰個係有個泵咁樣。嗱呢邊咧就比較平啲咯，嚇咁啊入去又好容易好多。
沈恩華表示，對於市政府跟進事件嘅態度都非常滿意。
其實幾個月之前，我咧就喺呢下邊有間餐廳嗰度啦，咁咧就落個十字路口，咁咧啱落咗去咧，佢唔知點解咧就喺度落到去底下咧，佢有一格咧係有啲泥喺度嘅。咁咧我呢個轆咧就我後邊有個轆係等我唔使倒後跌倒嘅。咁佢有兩個好細嘅轆就啱啱咧就棘住喺嗰度，我想前又唔得，想後又唔得，一定要人托咗我嘅輪椅先嚟。咁咧我就啱講咗，啱有一次我哋就之後我哋開一個會，我哋每3個月咧都有同政府嘅嗰啲唔同部門嘅經理開會，就係話點樣可以改善列治文呢度嘅市區嘅設施咁樣。咁我就提咗一提啫。咁到我下次再嚟啦，佢已經冚唪唥即係用啲紅毛泥啦，已經鋪到佢好滑落。所以政府係好關注呢啲改良啊、改善我哋
我哋呢個城市嘅設施嘅。
Samantha 認為喺改善無障礙設施嘅工作上，唔單止係政府嘅責任，個人以及一啲嘅社區團體都應該協助建設。
如果新嘅建築物咧就做得好好嘅，但係有時如果有啲比較舊啲嘅建築物咧，尤其是有啲係啲工廠、貨倉嘅地區或者係貨倉嘅建築嘅範圍咧，好多時候佢雖然話有個輪椅嘅位，但係啲輪椅嘅位係唔夠闊啦，同埋咧佢係喺個位置咧喺度好偏僻嘅，咁有時我哋入去都好似睇唔到有個輪椅位。咁我其實6個月之前都自己揸車嘅，咁所以我落車嘅話，我一定係需要一個真係比較闊嘅位，我先可以落到車，因為個門如果開得唔夠大嘅咧，我根本攞唔到個輪椅出嚟。咁有時有啲人係用啲斜，即係啲 ram 咧，咁佢淨要伸嗰個斜路嗰條斜坡出去嘅話咧，如果唔夠位，佢根本冇可能做得到咯。咁有時呢啲，但係個別嘅問題，亦都唔係淨係政府嘅問題，亦都係譬如話嗰啲嗰個業主啦，或者啲鋪主啊，佢哋都要或者改善下呢啲咁嘅環境咯。
喺近年社會上，除咗公共機構不斷改良無障礙設施，亦都有一啲民間團體舉辦一系列活動，去協助社區入邊嘅殘障人士。喺5月中，呢一個機構喺溫氏中心耶魯鎮舉辦無障礙展覽，會場有超過40個展銷商提供各項服務以及產品，俾一啲殘障人士更了解自己所需嘅資訊。
The Abilities Expo was created to bring together vendors and resources with our communities. So essentially, a lot of people here that have physical or cognitive or learning disabilities can come to the Abilities Expo and see all of the resources that are available to them. And Connectra is a society under the umbrella of the Disability Foundation, and we basically create opportunities for people living with disabilities. We work really closely with the City of Vancouver. They're actually going to do a presentation on their accessibility plan later this afternoon. They're making strides. There's a far way to go. We've also come a far way from where we were. But essentially, we have these things called accessible community forums 3 times a year where we bring government and city officials together on a panel, and we kind of have our community air their grievances and talk about the gaps in the system. So there's a long way to go, and we're hoping that we're helping get them there as well. Yeah.
對於地方政府嘅無障礙設施嘅建設，一啲殘障人士就認為當局有做得好嘅地方，但係仍然有好多需要改善嘅空間。而有非牟利機構亦都提出一啲嘅補助計劃，去協助一啲地方政府去建設無障礙設施。我哋下一節翻嚟再睇。歡迎翻嚟節目時間。一直致力為殘障人士爭取權益嘅 Rick Hansen 基金會，較早之前就向溫哥華市政府提出補助，去為市內建造無障礙環境以及設施。而溫市喺得到基金會嘅協助之下，結果喺建設無障礙環境方面達到金級水平，顯示溫市政府喺各個評級範疇都達到基金會制定嘅水平。至於列治文市亦都被選為基金會資助嘅對象。兩個城市喺無障礙設施嘅規劃上又係點嘅呢？
Rick Hansen 基金會設立嘅呢一個無障礙證書項目補助計劃，簡稱 RHFAC， 一直提供支援俾唔同城市建造唔同嘅無障礙設施。之後當嗰個城市達到佢哋嘅水平之後，就會獲得金級水平。究竟要點樣做先至能夠達到呢一個評級呢？
The RHFAC is a reference standard. It's not a prescriptive standard. And so it's designed as a weighted scale. It's not a checklist you can use and just check things off. So what happens is a trained assessor, someone who's taken our RHFAC professional course, uses the RHFAC rating as a disability lens, and they lay it over a project, and it helps them see the whole project through a different way. It helps people literally see the built environment differently. But in the hands of a trained professional, we can now assess the whole environment and identify any barriers that are there and who they affect. But it also identifies the good things. sometimes there's really good things that are going on. We want to make sure that the owners and the operators get credit for the good things that they've done as well.
根據 Rick Hansen 基金會數字顯示，喺卑斯省超過926000人面對唔同程度嘅殘障。喺2021年，卑斯省政府通過並推出卑斯省無障礙法，要求750多個公營組織設立無障礙委員會，以及一個收集意見嘅機制。目的係希望改善省內嘅無障礙建設。而早喺2018年，溫哥華市政府就已經制定無障礙政策。
Phase 1 of the accessibility plan was put together, was passed by Council in July of 2022. What we heard from the community is that attitudes remain a real barrier to accessibility. So we've titled the accessibility plan, Transforming Attitudes, Embedding Change, the City of Vancouver's Accessibility Strategy, Phase 1. It's all about shifting culture and combating ableism. It outlines high-level action items, which is separated into 8 different focus areas: the built environment, transportation, housing, information and communication, capacity and collaboration, governance and engagement, employment, and working with other orders of government.
喺較早之前，溫市政府亦都參與 RHFAC 計劃，喺經過一段時間嘅評估之後，最終得到金級水平。
With the Vancouver accepting the RHFAC as their standard, and they've made a commitment to all future buildings to be built to our highest level. The second part of the commitment is the training. They've committed to send their planning group and the people involved in the built environment discussions. They've agreed to send them all through our RHFAC training so they understand and they see the built environment through the eyes of a person with a disability, and they understand the impact that they can have through many simple changes.
除咗溫哥華市參與呢一個項目，基金會亦都選取卑斯省8個城市參加呢一個項目，當中包括較多華人聚居嘅列治文市。
We're in the process of all of this work. So in November of last year, Council approved the creation of a new Accessibility Advisory Committee to Council. So that'll be the Richmond Accessibility Advisory Committee, and that committee has been meeting since April. It's a mix of what we call citizen appointees, which are individual members of the public, and also community organizations who work directly with people with disabilities in the community. And so that committee is in place. They'll be, functioning in a number of ways, but to really advise Council, to help us identify, remove, and prevent barriers that people are experiencing with and within the city. So that would actually be public and staff. And they will also be supporting the development of the Richmond Accessibility Plan. So as you spoke to, we also are in the process of developing what the legislation calls a multi-year accessibility plan. These tend to be at cities fairly large and long processes, which we're having to, because of the timelines, kind of contract to meet these deadlines from the government. We've already finished our initial consultations, so we went out and we met with people with disabilities, their families and caregivers, and also organizations who support people with disabilities.
呢一日，列治文市府代表喺位於市內嘅 Mineral 活動中心展示一啲無障礙設施。呢一個中心亦都係 RHFAC 計劃入邊嘅受評估項目之一。
How did the government measure about when it needs the handrail or not?
So there is a requirement to the BC Building Code to meet a certain requirement for accessibility. Because we, as the City of Richmond, have our own council-adopted enhanced accessibility guidelines and design specifications, we use that to inform our design for buildings. Hence, we say we go above and beyond the BC Building Code, and we look at accessibility in more an inclusive way about different abilities. You will see we have wellness rooms, so wellness is also about accessible. We want these areas to be accessible to all. Now, we look at the change at the washrooms, both for men, male and female. There are accessible stalls inside, and we have a separate universal washroom at every corner of the facility. Also, to add, as I said, you will see your assisted listening available here, and it tells you the channel so they can actually modify. We have cameras in the corridors and everywhere to make sure that our patrons are safe and secure. Because we talk about accessibility, the older people get, the less accessible. They have their own entrance, they have their own exit on both sides. And also this side, we connect them. You will see the slope does not require rails we have on both sides. And it connects, the slopes are easy, they're manageable, they're not steep. And we keep on going, you will see here double doors that are all automatic. We have added door openers to every single universal washroom, which is not yet on top of every other entrance and exit that we have to ensure that all of our facility is accessible. Everything is operating properly, the access control, and okay, excellent. Did you get any feedback from the patrons? I saw a queue in the morning.
The queue is for our drop-in classes. We have a selected number of people that come in, so they line up for class because they're very excited to come and drop in.
Excellent, excellent. So all of these wheelchairs are facility wheelchairs. They are used by the patrons, but they are here all the time for any use at any time. Yeah, and you take them outside to the level of the pool to make it easier. And if you can see wide areas where they can take them and they can go into the ramps and so on and so forth. So this is how we enhance it more and more. And these are not things that are required in a facility. People come with their own because the city of Richmond is investing into accessibility and making our facilities inclusive and welcoming for everybody. This is what we try to do. So from a cultural point of view, from a physical point of view, we want it to be accessible. And the idea is you come up, you wheelchair from here, you sit, you turn, and this is not only for people that are for disability or mobility. We're talking about people with different kind of abilities. The older you get, the less frequent, and to make it accessible and make it welcoming for all. You will see the pools have different temperatures. They're used for different things. You will see the kids section over here. You will see this is the adult hot pool. You will see we have one steam room and we have two saunas. We have two saunas. One is a quiet, one is, and you will see the slopes. If you look at the slope, the building keeps on going up higher and higher. But it's very easy to navigate. They are very mild slopes, and it was done purposely by design to do so.
活動中心負責人話：有時候都會收到一啲市民對於無障礙設施嘅意見，中心亦都會認真處理。
So we see an average of about 3,000 people per day in our facility, so about 21,000 per week. When we get feedback from individuals with that lived experience about our accessibility features, we want to learn from them. So we take it really seriously and look at opportunities for us to make some modifications and improve the accessibility of our facility.
除咗喺建設方面加入無障礙元素，列治文市政府亦都同省內嘅唔同大專院校合作，探討同埋研究一啲無障礙新科技嘅設備，方便未來喺市內使用。
We're currently working on a project called Demscape. We're a municipal partner. And this is a multi-year research project with researchers from SFU, the University of British Columbia, and the University of Northern British Columbia. And it's about creating neighborhoods that are friendly for people living with dementia and developing tools. So that's a project that we're actively involved in to really be not just considering accessibility from sort of physical, sensory, and cognitive needs, but also our seniors as they age. What about seniors who are living with dementia? So we're completing our accessibility plan, right? And that really, once that's in place, that is the framework to advance accessibility across the city. And not just the built environment that we're talking about here and the program with Rick Hansen, but through our communication, our policies, our programs and services. So that becomes the footprint of which we bring actions forward to. A simple example, I mean, I know I've talked about the website, but that will continue to be developed and refined, and that's a great opportunity, just one, to advance accessibility. Another great example is our transportation department. The safety of the built environment is a significant factor for people with disabilities, and we're a leader amongst municipalities in terms of putting in automated pedestrian signals at our crosswalks. We have our own special sidewalk fill we do when the tree roots lift it to make sure not only does we use asphalt, which is the black, which keeps the sidewalk from buckling and lifting again, but then we actually paint it to match the rest of the sidewalk. So people who have low vision or are living with dementia don't think there's a dark hole in the ground and they can just continue to navigate the built environment.
好啦，今集嘅節目時間又差唔多啦。咁喺下一集嘅節目，我哋就會睇睇一啲殘障運動員點樣克服障礙，無障礙嘅設施又點樣幫助到佢哋嘅運動發展。如果觀眾對我哋今集節目有啲乜嘢意見嘅話，係好歡迎大家以電郵嘅方式同我哋聯絡㗎。我哋嘅電郵地址係 mag26@fairchildtv.com。如果觀眾想上網重溫翻今集嘅節目內容，亦都可以到我哋嘅網站3w.fairchildtv.com 點擊節目重溫一欄就可以睇得翻㗎啦。下星期同樣時間再見，晚安。